So guess what? Big weekend for Bernie Sanders. He won another state in a row, but of course it's a weird state. It's too white. It's next to Vermont. So that's what the news media says. Barely a mention about him crushing. He keeps on crushing. I said after the Illinois, Missouri, Arizona night that was going to be Hillary's last good night, and he was going to crush going forward, and he has been. And anywhere he spends time on the ground, he swings votes. But guess what? The nominating process is so rigged against Bernie Sanders or someone like Bernie Sanders that even the nincompoops at Morning Joe are noticing. Yes, I'm not kidding. You think I'm kidding? Here, let's go to it. Here we go.
Sanders beat Hillary Clinton by 12 points, 56-44, notching his 8th win in the last 9 nominating contests.
Okay, what do we do here?
I mean, it sounds like he's winning.
He's won 8 out of 9. Yep.
But he's losing.
And look, he wins by 12 points. I tell you, I would not do well as a Democratic politician. He wins by 12 points. He may not even pick up a single delegate. It's 7-6 now with a remaining delegate to be decided later. I'm sorry. That's a crushing victory.
I know. And listen, I think that with the super delegates that they have, I think she only has to win 30% of the, she only has to get 30% of the vote in the remaining contest. I mean, talk about voters feeling like a system might be rigged. Why are you even voting?
If you're driving a car right now, we've been talking about rigged systems. We're putting up right now a graphic. Bernie Sanders wins 56-44% in Wyoming. The delegates rewarded Hillary Clinton 11, Bernie Sanders 7. Why does the Democratic Party even have voting booths?
So it looks like Morning Joe Ball and his domestic abuse partner Mika has even sniffed this one out. It turns out, why do they even have voting? Why did people say? So people show up to vote. They vote for Bernie Sanders overwhelmingly. He crushes by 12 percentage points. He loses by 4 delegates. She gets 50% more delegates than he does. And you wonder why Bernie Sanders says you want a revolution? Because this is the kind of system that the party has set up. This is so the will of the people isn't reflected. Why do they do it like this? Let's, you know what, I'm going to tell you that in a second. Morning Joe's got a little bit more to be pissed off about. Let's listen.
Let's talk about the Democrats for now.
We didn't say that.
Here is a party who sends their activists out and have people chattering on TV and chattering on talk radio about voter disenfranchisement if you make somebody show a picture of themselves. This same party tells voters to go straight to hell when they select somebody by 12 percentage points and end up letting the other candidate lost by 12 percentage points win the most delegates. That, by definition, is voter disenfranchisement. So it is a rigged system on the Democratic side, even worse than the Republican side. And I don't know why Democratic voters put up with it.
Because they have Stockholm syndrome, Joe. That's why they put up with it. If you go on Facebook, you go on Twitter, you see people left and right, Democrats, Hillary Rodham Clinton supporters. They have Stockholm. Even people say, "Hey, I like Bernie better, but I'm not voting for him." It's called. That's why the Democratic voters put up with it. But Bernie Sanders. That's why Bernie Sanders has such a big following. That's why he's winning, crushing in these states. That's why people show up 30,000 at a clip to watch him talk, because people are sick and tired of this kind of rigged system. This is just one symptom of a rigged system in favor of the plutocrats. Why is this like this? How could they possibly, with a straight face, get away with doing something like this? So in 1972, George McGovern was the anti-war candidate. Remember the Vietnam War? Remember Nixon? Unpopular. George McGovern won the Democratic nomination and then got crushed in the general election. Part of it was that he was a war hero who didn't want to talk about his war record because he had, integrity. Now these guys, it's all over. It's worse. They're worse with their war record than religion. Anyway, so the Democratic Party leaders got together and they said, hey, we can't let that happen again. We can't let the people decide, because if we let the people decide, they're going to choose a liberal. And then the liberal will get crushed in the election. That's what they said. Maybe it was just McGovern. Maybe it's not liberals. Maybe Barack Obama campaigned as a liberal twice, crushed twice. He went to the left of Hillary Clinton. Let's remember that. He went to the left of Hillary Clinton in 07 and 08, and he crushed. And again, he didn't have a challenger in 2012. He went to the left of Mitt Romney. So people thought they were voting for a liberal, certainly that first time. So that's what they did. They took the power to select their nominee. The Democratic Party did. They took the power. We can't let the people who are members of our party, we can't let them pick. We're going to have our super wealthy elite people pick. The people who are most beholden to our donors. We're going to have them pick. They're going to pick our nominee. That's what's happening in the Democratic Party. And why won't people just get on? Why won't people who support Bernie Sanders just right now pledge their allegiance to somebody who's completely corrupt and is backing a corrupt system? So this is the way the Democrats do it. Imagine if the Republicans did it this way. Could you imagine if somebody went into a state, won 55% of the vote to someone's 56 to 44, and then they gave it to the other person? Well, that kind of happened in Louisiana. So you see why the people are revolting. Do you see that we have a complete sick, corrupt system? Our system is completely corrupt on Democrats and Republican side. The Republicans right now are trying to figure out a way to rewrite the rules to screw Donald Trump out of the nomination. They don't want to give it to the guy who's getting the most votes. So, again, another symptom of how much we need a revolution. And the people who keep begging Bernie supporters to pledge their allegiance already to the person that's the polar opposite of them. Hey, I know you want to vote for Bernie, but wouldn't you vote for someone who's the exact because let's remember, what's happening right now in the Democratic primary used to be what happened in the general election. Right. So the conversation that's happening inside the Democratic primary, Bernie Sanders sticking up for working people, the poor, talking about income disparity. He's an anti-war candidate, opposed to Hillary Clinton, who's in bed with big business and Wall Street and the energy companies. She's a war hawk. That used to be the Democrat Republican. Now they're both Democrats. And that's why Bernie's so popular, because we're sick of that kind of Democrat. We already have Republicans. What do we need that kind of Democrat for? Even Morning Joe Ball's catching on that the system is rigged in favor of the super wealthy powerful.